Somebody doesn't just land on your Instagram page and then buy from you. That's very unlikely. Once they follow you on Instagram or they join your email list, what is the journey that they are going on, that strategic journey where you are nurturing them to buying from you? And your sales process might be a live launch. It might be an evergreen funnel. It might be a discovery call. It might be some other journey altogether. Welcome to Imperfect Action. I'm Steph Taylor. For years, I read all the books, downloaded all the freebies, and did all the courses. But it wasn't until I started taking imperfect action that my business had its first $1 million year. Imperfect action is about doing things before you're ready, prioritizing consistent action over perfect action, and moving forward, even when you're not sure you're doing it right. On this show, you can expect mindset advice, actionable marketing tips, and strategies to build a business that brings you more profit, more freedom, and even more joy. Are you on the list to get my daily Biz Boosters? Every day, I'll send you a bite-sized prompt designed to help you grow your business in a more intentional way. Sign up at stephtaylor.co/DBB or at the link in the show notes. Hey, welcome back to Imperfect Action. This is episode 675. Today is part one of a two-part episode because I started outlining this and then I was like, this is going to take way too long and it's going to be way too overwhelming if we have it all in one episode. So today I'm sharing part one of the areas you might be going wrong with selling to your audience. So when I thought about this, I thought there's really 5 key areas that impact how well you are able to sell to your audience. Your offer suite, so the things that you actually sell as a business, your sales process, your messaging, your marketing, and your mindset. But the problem is when you're struggling to make sales, most business owners assume that it's a marketing issue, that if they can just get their offers in front of more people, then they will sell more. And most of the time, this isn't the case because you can reach thousands of people, but if your sales process isn't any good or your offer suite isn't right or your messaging isn't aligned, then you won't make sales. So this episode, we're looking at the first two. We're looking at the offer suite and the sales process, areas you might go wrong there. And then part 2 next week, I'll share where you might be going wrong with your messaging, marketing, and mindset and how those might be affecting your sales. So let's kick it off. Key mistakes with your offer suite that limit your sales. Mistake number 1, your audience doesn't have enough different ways to work with you. Different people have different budgets. They have different ways they like working together, different problems, and different needs. So you need to create different offers for them. You can't really expect to pigeonhole everybody into just one way of working with you because otherwise they will go to a competitor instead. And sometimes this is a good thing. If you don't want to work with people one-on-one and they only value working with somebody in a one-on-one format, great, let them go to a competitor. But thinking about the people that you do want to work with, how else can you serve them? And what about once they have finished working with you? Is there something they can keep working with you with? Or before they are ready to sign up for your main offer, is there something that they can do with you before then to set them up to be ready for that main offer, that signature offer? How can you help them over their lifetime with you as a client rather than just once? Mistake number 2, your audience has too many different ways to work with you and you're letting them pick and choose Netflix style. I see this happen a lot with digital product creators. They'll go and create a bunch of courses or mini courses or ebooks on a whole range of different topics, and then they'll wonder why they're not selling as well as they would hope. Now, creating an entire library of offers can be pretty confusing to your potential clients. They feel a little bit overwhelmed, like when you open Netflix and you're scrolling through and you're like, I've got 2 hours, which movie shall I watch? And then you spend half an hour choosing the movie and then you don't have time to watch the movie. Potential clients also often don't know what the solution is to their problem. They are coming to you, they're looking to you to guide them and to tell them what will solve it. And if they're not sure what the right solution is, they won't buy, or they will buy the wrong solution. So when I was working one-on-one with clients in a sort of marketing strategist capacity, marketing consultant capacity, I made this mistake a lot where I would give them, I'd go back to a potential client and I'd basically list out all of the different things that we could do, all of the different services, and I would let them choose. I would let them choose if they wanted Facebook ads setup or management or both. I would let them choose if they wanted me to write their emails or not. Like all of the different things, I would let them pick and choose. But meanwhile, they didn't really know what was going to work and what wasn't going to work. So they would often end up choosing the wrong things based on what they had read, what somebody else had told them online. Plus, it's also really exhausting to run a business when you have a lot of different offers. Especially if you're doing a bunch of different services, it gets really hard to streamline them if every service is different. You can't just have like the set process that you follow. Okay, mistake number 3, solving the same problem in all of your different offers. For example, let's say that you are a website designer. You work one-on-one designing clients' websites. You have an online course teaching people how to DIY their website design, and you sell templates for ready-made website designs. Those are all solving the exact same problem. And yes, the benefit to this is that you can help people to achieve the same outcome in different ways. They can still have that beautiful website, and some people will have the budget for one-on-one and others won't. But chances are it's going to be a very long time before somebody comes back to you and buys from you again, because if your offers are any good, then they're not going to need a new website for a little while still. And if a client comes to you to solve one problem and you have nothing to offer them after they have solved that one problem, then you're limiting that potential lifetime value from that client. And here's the thing, they might have other problems that need solving, problems that need solving before they are ready to solve this problem that your main offer solves. For example, with the website design one, maybe they need to figure out their brand colors and fonts first. Or they might have problems that need solving after the first one. Maybe they need help to maintain their website after the website's up. When you strategically design your offer suite, you're taking your clients on a journey. You're solving more than one problem for them. And so they come back to you again and again and again because they know that you have the solution to the problems they are experiencing. Mistake number 4, trying to solve all of your audience's problems in one massive offer. This is like the signature course that tries to solve basically everything in one offer, or the signature service where you're trying to deliver everything. And it's overwhelming. It's overwhelming for you. It's probably going to take forever to create and deliver. It's overwhelming for them, and they're probably not going to make it to the finish line because of this overwhelm. So it's not going to get them the results that they really want. Now, there's a really important distinction to make here between giving your ideal clients the ability to pick and choose the solutions. Like I said, that's a mistake, saying like, oh, you can add this to your package, or you can have this guide and this mini course. That's not a great approach because they don't know what the solutions are. But a better approach is solving smaller, more specific problems in each offer. So I'll give you an example, actually. So I'm going to talk about podcasting. And let's say I'm helping people to launch and grow their podcast. Somebody isn't going to be ready to grow their podcast until they have first started one. So having 2 offers, start your podcast and grow your podcast, 2 separate offers, versus having pick and choose ones where it's like choosing the right microphone, deciding your podcast topic. Somebody might think they already have the right microphone and they'd skip over a really important part of starting their podcast. So do you see the difference there? So the specific problems I'm solving is launching the podcast, growing the podcast, versus giving them free rein to pick and choose which parts of starting a podcast they want to learn about. And then if I tried to create an offer that solved all of those problems, starting and growing a podcast together, that's a huge offer. And it's going to feel like a really long, impossible journey for the person who is completing that. So they're probably not going to reach that finish line. And then mistake number 5, the 5th mistake that I see with offer suites that limit your sales is trying to solve too many unrelated different problems. This gets really confusing for you. It gets really confusing for your potential buyers. And you tend to end up with a lot of different, very, very different ideal clients, leading people to question, who is this actually for? Is this actually for me? Or I don't think it's for me. And then they go and find somebody who is for them. And it doesn't lead to your clients coming back to you because even though you have different offers that they can work with you with, they don't have half of the problems. Half of those problems that you solve are not something they are even dealing with. So instead, they'll then go to somebody else who does solve the problem that they have. The other problem with this is it can take your content, your free content, in too many different directions as well. And that can then lead people to wonder, like, what the heck does this person even do? And it feels messy. It feels a little bit messy behind the scenes. So those are the 5 main ones that I noticed with offer suites that are limiting your sales. And then we're going to look also at the key mistakes with your sales process that are limiting your sales. So when I talk about your sales process, it's this kind of journey. So once somebody is in your audience, what is the journey you are taking them on to buying from you? Because somebody doesn't just land on your Instagram page and then buy from you. That's very unlikely. Once they follow you on Instagram or they join your email list, what is the journey that they are going on? That strategic journey where you are nurturing them to buying from you. And your sales process might be a live launch. It might be an evergreen funnel. It might be a discovery call. It might be some other journey altogether. So the mistakes that I see with sales processes is, number 1, not having a sales process at all. And this is probably the most common one. For example, if you have an online course or an ebook on your website that is sitting in your shop, your online shop, and all you are doing to try and sell it is giving people the call to action to go and check it out, go and view the sales page. Or if you have a services page and you're like, oh, go and look at my services page for ways that you can work with me. That's not a sales process. There is no real bridge between where they are hearing about your course or your services, such as social media or a Facebook ad or emails, and the sales page. There's no bridge between that. There's no journey. The second big mistake is not adequately bridging the magician's gap in your sales process. Now, your magician's gap, there's right now, your ideal client is somewhere. They are at this place where they are at right now. And there is a place where you need them to be ready to buy your particular offer. And this magician's gap is going to vary depending on offer to offer. But there's going to be a whole bunch of things that they need to understand and believe about the problem your offer solves, about the solution that is in your offer, and about themselves as it relates to solving that problem before they will be ready to buy. So bridging that gap in your sales process means educating them on what they need to know about the problem they are experiencing or the solution your offer delivers. It means delivering a whole bunch of mindset shifts about how they see themselves so that they are now ready to take that action and achieve that transformation or solve that problem. I really love James Wedmore's analogy. He's got a great analogy around this, where your audience is walking around with a headache right now, and you are an expert in headaches. And you as the expert know that their headache is caused by dehydration. But if you go and sell them a solution to their dehydration, if you say, hey, this is the thing that's going to make your dehydration go away, they're going to say, no, thank you, I've just got a headache. So the magician's gap in that case is educating them on how their headache is caused by dehydration and how the solution to that headache is actually drinking more water. Now, I'm doing a deep dive into the magician's gap and how it applies to your offers in a free waitlist-only event later this month at the end of July. I'm teaching Module 1 of Launch Magic free, live in a Zoom call. It's limited to 100 people and there are no replays. So you need to be on that waitlist to get the invite. If you want to get on the Launch Magic waitlist, send me a DM. DM me the word magic on Instagram. I'm there at stephtaylor.co, or visit stephtaylor.co/magic and you'll find the waitlist sign-up page there as well. Okay, the third mistake that I see with sales processes is not having some kind of deadline for your audience or your potential buyers to make a decision. This is not about pressuring somebody to buy, but it's to overcome our natural tendency to procrastinate doing something that feels uncomfortable or different. We might say that we want to change. We might say like, oh, I want to get up and start working out at 6 a.m. every day. But then when the alarm goes off at 6 a.m., it's much more comfortable to keep doing what we've already done every single day and hit the snooze button, right? When it comes to actually changing, when it comes to actually doing this new desired behavior, we will naturally put it off. We will also put off things that feel painful, like spending money. So having a deadline isn't about this high pressure sales tactic. It's about saying, hey, now you get to choose. You need to make a decision. Is this what you really want, or is it what you don't want? And it's okay if it's not, but the main thing is that you are intentionally making a decision rather than just continually kicking the can down the road. And then mistake number 4, the final one, is not giving your audience everything they need to make the right decision for their situation. they are naturally going to have hesitations and questions about your offer. They're thinking, will this work for me? Is this going to be relevant to my situation? And then we want to make sure, do they have an avenue to get these questions answered? Do they feel safe to ask these questions? Like, we might assume, like, of course they can email or they can DM me, but maybe they don't feel like it's an open communication channel. They don't know that you're on the other side of your emails or that you are going to reply to their DM and answer that question. So making sure that you show your audience you are open to answering these questions. And then also get really clear, what are all of the things that your ideal client needs to know about your offer, about themselves, about the problem they are struggling with, about the solution your offer delivers, about the transformation that they will have at the end? What do they need to know about all of these things to be ready to buy? And then that becomes your cart open emails, your sales page, your webinar, your social posts, right? It's not about hype, because you can have the most hype in your launch. You can be getting people really excited about your offer, but if they still have these questions, then they're not going to buy. So we really need to preempt these hesitations and these questions as much as possible. And cart open emails are a great place to answer these. And I know this happens a lot with my students who come to Launch Magic and they're doing a live launch where they've got a limited time cart open period. And they'll say, well, I don't want to send too many emails because I will annoy my email list. And then you end up not sending as many emails, which means you're not answering all of their questions and hesitations, which means your audience doesn't have everything they need to make the right decision about whether it's a good fit for them or not. So we're actually doing them a service by sending more emails, by sharing more social posts, wherever you are showing up for your audience. You're actually doing them a favor by selling to them, by giving them the information they need to make the right decision for them. I also personally love live webinars because they give me that opportunity to answer my audience questions live. I have a live Q&A section of every live webinar that I teach, and my audience can submit their questions there. And they're somewhat anonymous as well, because it's not like, most of the time they're not in Zoom, so they don't have their camera on. It might just be their first name. And it's like a safe space for them to have their hesitations and their questions addressed live. If you're doing sales calls, discovery calls, fitting calls, whatever you want to call them, they're also a great way to do that. So there you have it. That's a whole bunch of offer suite and sales process mistakes that are limiting your sales. Make sure you hit subscribe, so the little plus button in Apple Podcasts, or follow in Spotify, so that you don't miss part 2 of this episode next week, where we're looking at the messaging, marketing, and mindset mistakes that make it a lot harder to sell to your audience. Thank you so much for listening. I look forward to seeing you in our next episode. Catch you next time.